It's live, right, Sagarji?
Just
Okay, आवाज नहीं आ रही सागर। Okay, give me a minute. Okay, I think it is live, but I have to just give me a minute. I'll just quickly check it with all platforms. Just give me a minute. Yeah, so we are not live. We're just working on it. Just exactly 2, 3 minutes we're working on. So basically, this is martekai.com and this is launched by E4M. We did a Martech mixer as well in the last 2 months. Mr. Gupta had attended as well. Ms. Ruchita also attended. And we will be doing further more events so that, and there's a lot of things coming up. So buckle up for that. And basically, this is a focused platform for marketers and how AI is evolving and how MarTech is growing and what MarTech tools are there. So it is just specific to that. So we do a couple of webinars.
Anupama, we are live.
We are live?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
okay, okay, great. So now we are live. So I'll just quickly start. Give me a minute, I'll just. So as I was saying that this is martigai.com and now as we have gone live, so good afternoon everyone. Welcome to another exciting edition of Martech Webinar Thursdays and brought to you by martechai.com and E4M. I am Anupama Mitra, your host and moderator for today's session, and I'm thrilled to have you join us for what promises to be a highly relevant and thought-provoking conversation. Our topic today is that one sits at an intersection of technology, emotion, and brand identity. Algorithms don't feel, but can AI really understand the brand? As AI continues to drive automation in marketing, the biggest question we are asking is, can machines really understand a brand's tone, purpose, emotion, and voice? Or are we risking the loss of human essence in the name of scale and speed? To help us navigate this nuanced space, we are joined by five stellar minds from the MarTech ecosystem. Let me quickly introduce our panelists. Mr. Ashish Gupta, he's the marketing head of IDP Education. Mr. Antriksh Johari, he's the MarTech lead at Tata Digital. Ms. Tanvi Taneja, she's a MarTech professional and has the experience of city, access, and fintech startups. And Ms. Ruchita Jain, she's the AVP of Access Max Life Insurance. And lastly, Mr. Sanjay Shetty, he's the Chief Business Officer of Quess Corp. Thank you for all being here.
Thank you, Anupama.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anupama. Pleasure.
Thank you. Pleasure, pleasure. So to set the stage, how would each of you define the term brand intelligence in the age of AI? Or do you believe that AI has started to capture those emotional or intuitive elements that define brand identity? Let's start with Mr. Jory first. What do you have any thoughts?
Right. So I believe that brand by the nature of it is emotional. It is the way you connect to your consumer mind. While AI can certainly look at those data points, but it cannot comprehend what my brand is trying to portray. I'll give you an example from my last one of the workplaces. And while speaking on this, my case studies will be filled with examples. We
Perfect.
in banking, we have a rule that in case if we do not have a customer whose date of birth with us, we put 1970 as a date so that we can identify this customer did not have a date. Now, when this happened, we sent birthday messages to the customers. And when we were sending birthday messages to the customer, it customized or personalized basis the customer age and send relevant options to that customer. Unfortunately, what happened was that this particular customer was deceased, and that flag was not taken care by AI, and this mail went to the person who was the next kin to it. It was not a pretty good situation, because AI as an ethos should understand that 1970% I cannot pitch him in children bank account because he is way past it. Secondly, I cannot tell him that maybe I should have intelligence to check the exclusion segments which are there at first. I know that AI will evolve. We will eventually learn from our mistakes, include that segment. But that first time miss is what it takes to create the negative brand perception in the customer's mind. Hence, it is very important that you balance the perception of the customer with respect to the data points, algorithms, uh, to the actual image which you are trying to portray.
That's absolutely correct. And as someone working in a highly data-driven ecosystem, like how do you strike the balance between personalization through AI and an authentic brand voice? How do you do
Right.
that?
So again, I'll go for again an example. There is a particular brand of shoe which I am even not allowed to take name of.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, that shoe brand never gets I mean on sale, etc., etc. That is so exclusive. It's available on one of my platforms. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
However, I cannot portray it as anything which I sell. So what we did was we figured out that it should be part of an exclusion segment. So now we put a layer of a exclusion filter which should not go to a customer. So now that brand is excluded from all our communications, regardless of which AI downstream systems which you are using. So we have placed guardrails, if you can call it, not an individual AI system, but on our database itself, so that it doesn't percolate down to the downstream systems, right?
Right.
Before sending any campaign, we also ensure that marketeers do a basic sanity check on a test run on a very small base with a very small budget, so I can initially understand and change the campaign if and when required.
That is that is crazy. That is nice. But if you have more examples that we'll definitely look forward to. Also, I have a question for Tanvi. Like across both legacy institutions for fintech startups and stuff, where has AI impressed you the most in terms of human brand storytelling?
Sure. So I think I look at branding as a very long process that involves various sub-functions within it. I feel where it has the potential to generate maximum impact is ORM, which is the online reputation management. Very often overlooked by marketers along the way. We are often involved in media buying, research, a lot of data analysis to understand. Sentiment analysis is another thing, is another area where AI is helping marketers and brand marketers more and more. But online reputation management is very, very critical because that's where your users are, that's where your target audience, majority of your target audience is, be it any industry, right? To give you a small example, very recently, a brand which is in the health food space, they were promoting a lot, very heavily about the kind of products that they are selling, the sale that they are running, etc. The demand reached to such a certain level that they were not able to fulfill those orders. 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Had there been an AI tool in place, it would have captured the lack of, that connect between the advertising department and probably the ones who are supplying, and would have filled the gap, or at least it would not have let users hanging and would have replied to them, more proactively. So I think ORM is one space where both small organizations, large organizations, really need to be actively present and take the help of technology to address user concerns in real time. Because branding is not done in a single day, right? It's over time. So you
Hmm.
really need to understand what your users are saying and accordingly respond to that.
Exactly, absolutely agreed. And basing on that, I have a question for Mr. Sanjay Sethi. Like Quess Corp works across diverse talent ecosystems. So how is AI reshaping the way employer brands communicate with the prospective talent?
Sure. Thanks, Anupama, and
Yeah,
good afternoon to everybody listening.
yeah.
I guess I'm the only non-marketing person on this panel, so I'm also learning a lot from everybody. Uh, of course, AI today, if you open the newspapers, you open the internet, I think that is the most used buzzword apart from tariffs nowadays in the last few days. But what is AI, right? I would say, AI has moved from being more, like from a good to have to a business imperative today, right? Irrespective whether it's the HR services space, whether it's the consumer space, it's become a business imperative. AI is basically it feeds on what data gets fed into the system, right? That's one part.
Mhm.
Other thing, right? And I'd like to use an example. Now, I'm sure a lot of people know LinkedIn, for example. It has an application which is people you may want to work for. Now, what does that mean? So it
Mhm.
basically captures data and information from various sources, and it positions and it sort of stack ranks companies and people. So that is a very simple example, and they're not the only ones. There are so many organizations that are following suit. So it's about how, and it's so interesting to see the way organizations, whether it's Quess Corp or other companies, intermediaries like LinkedIn, are using technology, using AI and data to be able to position opportunities for various candidates, right? That's the first part. The other thing, it's also, it helps in creating the right perception about an organization, because culture is so intangible. But today, when you feed information from different sources, different speed, it tells you, it is able to paint a picture in a much more clearer manner. There is so much of analytics today when you talk about, attrition, when you talk about retention. So AI gives a lot more depth, which helps candidates, by the way, Anupama and everybody, decide, hey,
Mhm.
is this the organization I want to work for? Because this is what, when you put all the data into a mixture, this is what the image I'm getting. And maybe it's not a good place, or maybe it's a good place. So it's really helping us. We have a tool called Erica, which we use with all our clients, which really helps us scrape the data and paint that picture. The other thing that I feel very strongly, Anupama, is in the digital age today, if you're not leveraging AI and technology, right, it's out of digital sight is out of mind. So it is absolutely important for organizations and departments, and it's not just a marketing department, right? It's a collective effort to be able to create that EVP. There is a talent war out there in all skills, especially technology. And the last thing that I'd like to add on the opening comments is, let's not forget, it's also creating a big need for talent in AI skills, which is great. And that's where we come in, companies like Quess. So there's a huge demand, almost 60 to 70% year on year growth of AI skills, AI talent. Uh, Also, India is supplying AI skills to the world, and we're also doing that. So we're sending technology people, not just, we're not deploying them only to clients in India, but we're also exporting talent to the Middle East, we're exporting talent to Europe. So I think the good thing is, while we're talking about AI and technology helping in branding and positioning organizations, but it's also creating tremendous job opportunities for our talent base. I hope that answers your question, Anupam.
Yes, absolutely. And based on talent, like we need talents from education. So I have a question for Mr. Gupta. Like from in education marketing, like emotional resonance is a key, right? So do you think AI powered tools like chatbots or virtual advisors are capable for replicating this?
Great question, Anupama. In fact, if you see in this particular sector, especially at tech, there are a lot of happening in terms of AI, right? Everybody is, creating a bot. Everybody is creating a platform where, a student can go through the entire journey.
Right.
But what's happening in this space that, for example, take the example of any consultant which provide, study abroad services. From face to face to pre-departure, there are multiple steps actually, the student follow, right? So for example, AI can help definitely to identify, the student is applying for particular university, which course he is suitable for. He can definitely, provide the information, what is the IELTS requirement for particular course, uh, what type of SOP or LOR is required, right? They can even help to, prepare for the IELTS examination. But what's happening, at one point of time, you need a human face or an interaction, because see, it's a very high involvement product, right? And you
Right.
need to trust human, right? And it's a lifetime investment you are doing it, right? So in this particular space, I think empathy, emotions, and the trust factors are very, very important. We are also working on the bot from the last 2 years. We are giving that lot of information through machine learning, because this industry is a little different. There are multiple questions a student asks, right? Which course,
Mm.
which destination, which accommodation, which essential services. but we are not able to capable, at this point in time, that we can fully rely on the bot services. So what I feel that it varies from product to product, but in our case, definitely human interaction with AI is actually a right mix.
Exactly. Absolutely. And I was thinking in like how online classes are getting regular if something happens, like how that essence of education is getting captured, but still by online, is it still that effective or not? That is how we are going to play that. And if we come to insurance in that way, like empathy, like I have a question for Ms. Ruchita, like insurance is a category where empathy builds loyalty, right? So what role do you think AI should play and should not play in brand-led conversations with customers? What do you think?
Yeah, so our category is such where there is a lot of conviction required for the customers. Life insurance, if you buy today, the relationship doesn't end. It's a long-term product. You have to continue with the product for like 15 years, 12 years, 20 years, and so on to really reap the benefits of the product. Now, what happens? Sometimes the customer forgets about the product. Sometimes the customer, is to be reminded that please pay the premium and so on. So that conviction building, that is something which is most important for us as marketer and as brand people out here, to see what the customer really needs to be communicated to really get him convinced. Now there is where we have started leveraging AI at Axis Max Life Insurance, because one is giving the kind of input to the customer, which we are developing through a lot of AI based videos, a lot of AI based content, wherein we are telling the customer it's important. So very recently we did a Rohit Sharma AI based content, wherein the customer got a video wherein the Rohit Sharma as a celebrity is telling the customer how important the product is and why he should continue with the premium, right? But that input also was something
Yeah,
that was not really taken as given out by the AI tool. So we had given
right.
one prompt to the customer, to the AI. It gave one outcome. We had to give another prompt to regenerate the outcome, and then there was a human completely involved in ensuring the copy is written rightly and as per what the customer wants.
Mm.
That is where the entire, I would say, co-creation part comes into play. So that was one very recent and very collaborative example, I would say, wherein an AI or a human work together to develop that kind of script which will convince the customer. And then we personalized it. We told the customer his particular product, his value, his returns that he's getting, so as to his so that he's convinced at the end of the day. So that was the entire beauty that we all are experiencing as on today, wherein system and humans are coming together. The outcome is not that whether AI versus humans. The outcome should be that how AI and humans work together to give the right kind of outcome. And as per me, AI is the best assistant to you, who can give you agile outcome, fast outcome, even the first copy written for you. But ultimately it's you who has to really work and introduce that empathy, which maybe tomorrow it happens that AI is able to write all the empathetic messages, and that's how we are seeing every day there is a new invention and a new discovery in AI. But that's the future. But yes, as on today, I think it's a collaborative model which we all have to evolve into.
Exactly. Yeah, we could definitely hear the empathy around your background as well. But exactly, I think in a past Martech Mixer event, there was this speaker, Mr. Jagdish Mitra. He talked about empathy intelligence. Like it's just not agentic AI anymore. Like they are catching emotions. They are actually, uh, you know, uh, sympathizing, and you write to it like, "I'm not feeling well. What is happening?" So there are separate programming's done for and it is categorized as empathy intelligence. What do you think about that? Like, is
So
it getting into it? Like, because of
I
brand?
yeah.
Yeah, Mr.
Is
Jodi. Yeah, anyone can
so
take it.
I have one very relevant point which comes out of this, and this is just harping what Tanvi said earlier.
Mm-hmm.
She spoke about ORM, and brand has to be empathetic to what customer needs. And why is this important? I'll again start with an example.
Mm-hmm.
I remember there was a credit card campaign, and this was sold to a customer who was actually a HMW campaign, the highest of highest credit card. We were unable to resolve one of his complaints, and that information was already there in my ORM. Technically, what
Okay.
should have happened, that I shouldn't have sent him any ad. Now, that customer reached out to me saying that, first of all, you are not solving my problem. I've already escalated to XYZ place, and now you are sending me and bombarding with these ads on SMS, WhatsApp, etc., etc. See, AI unfortunately does not have a personality of its own. What it lives is in a delusion of what you are providing. So if you are providing X, it will give you X. If you want him to be empathetic, he will become empathetic. It can't actually think, and that is where the fallacy starts. That brand cannot rely on AI. For example, I'll give you one more example, that one-to-one mapping, which Rachita was speaking earlier. In case if you want to create a content for customer, it's extremely possible, it's pretty good. But look, those Zomato type content where you actually reach out to customer, can that be created? I at least have not seen that, and maybe that's my mistake, but I haven't seen those kind of content flowing through AI. Can I reach customer on one by one messaging saying customers, hey, this is for you? Yeah, I can do it for a specific product, but can I do actual one-to-one messaging customer like a friend talking to you? The answer is absolutely not, because as a business, I'll not be able to pay those many API calls. I'll not be able to manage and look at the content of each call. And it is gonna be a failure if customer responds back to me. So it's just my take on this. I'm sorry if I spoke out of
Yeah.
turn.
No, absolutely. I think that is very, very essential because, in another person we had an interview, he said that our phone's listening to us if we talk about algorithms. Because whenever we search anything right now in Blinkit or wherever, Facebook, it just everything pops up in all the platforms. Anything you want to say on this, Tanvi? Over to you.
Sure. So I believe it has, they are both sides of the coin.
Yeah.
Empathy, if we look at it, is a human trait. What we are trying to impart to AI, because AI is also trying to reach an intelligence level of a human. So what we are doing is we are having certain programming being done into it. So it's also known as computational empathy in a simplified form. Basically, what it means is that there is a predictive matching being done of various cues. Cues can be in the form of my sound, it can be in the form of my facial expression, it can be in the form of the words that I'm speaking. They are then matched to pre-programmed empathetic responses, right? That is also being fed into the system with the help of some of the other data. So how I look at it is that probably if it is done with a lot of caution, it can help you have uniform messaging. It can help you in having better responses via your chatbots and ORM, like I said. But at the same time, I think what Antriksh was also mentioning, it comes from, there are various downsides to it. One of them being like it being sounding more artificial. It could be that misuse of my data, right? Or what you were just mentioning, that even while giving a consent, sometimes users may not read through what all consents are they providing, and in future, the trust which they have on the brand may be eroded as a result of it. A very popular term again used in the AI world is the ELIZA effect, right? That you start giving sort of human traits to a machine just because it is sort of agreeing with you. In cases of mental health, people have started resorting to
Yes.
AI more and more.
Mhm.
And while some people are benefiting from it, but at the same time, some people do find it sort of not as good after a few weeks, and then they may feel a little cheated. Another thing in branding scenarios, I feel, is that it can understand your tones, your voice, etc. if you have trained the AI for it. But to what extent, right? Can it understand sarcasm? To give you a very relevant example, uh, whenever my mother is a little angry at home, and we ask her, how are you doing? How are you feeling? What will she respond? She'll probably respond, I'm fine. Now, I am fine does not mean she's fine, right? Similarly,
I
when
am
you
fine is such a general statement but it's a very complicated statement.
Yeah, so
And
can AI
tonalities.
understand that? So
Yeah,
similarly, if your users are responding on social media that,
yeah,
oh, such a great product, 10 ml for just 9999, they're not appreciating you, right? So
exactly.
sentiment analysis may work like data again at different steps of branding may work for you, but empathy cannot be exactly simulated by AI, and may have certain downsides to it, like I said.
Yeah, so as you're saying that it is affecting in a good way and in a bad way, but also like is there a line where we need to distinguish it? Like is it an how can we understand that distinguishment? Like
So, like Ruchita was saying, right?
yeah,
Uh, AI cannot be a pilot. AI can be a co-pilot.
yeah,
You need to work with AI. You need to have proper audits in place, proper information security checks in place to ensure that that line is not being crossed. And there's no single line. That line needs to be drawn basis the data, basis your user feedback, basis your understanding of the brand.
mm,
So, somebody needs to be really upskilled at that level to understand how the machine is operating and accordingly tweak it such that it doesn't cross certain lines.
yeah. So you can so are you saying that is AI more effective at interpreting customer signals or expressing brand intent, which is more? And why
I
does it
think
matter in emotional marketing? Like if I want to add up.
okay, without taking too much time and giving everybody a chance to pitch
Yes,
in, I'll
yes,
just
absolutely.
quickly summarize. I think it can do both the things partially, but it cannot do everything 100%. So
Correct.
even while capturing the intent, if you're not overseeing it, it may lead to false results or misunderstandings and misuse of data over time. On the flip side, if you are trying to express yourself, if you are using the same tonality across your brand communication, it does lead to positive impacts. But again, beyond a point, it would lead to probably oversimplification. So it would not solve any problem 100% for me.
That's perfect. And I completely agree with this. And another thing which I wanted to ask Mr. Shetty is like, do you believe AI can truly capture and represent a brand's internal culture and values when engaging with external stakeholders? What do you think about it?
Yeah, so I'll just take a step back, Anupama. So if I just
Yeah,
use my organization example, Quest, we have about
yeah,
close to almost 600,000 contract staff that we put to work every day. And now what happens is, as a result of that, of course, we hire a lot of people every month. We also lose a lot of people because there's natural attrition. So we'll end up hiring about almost 20 to 30,000 people in an average month across levels, mostly at the junior level, of course. Now we use AI to sift through data. We use ATS systems, which is application tracking system. We use AI for hiring systems, processes, everything. Now that helps us, of course, by using machine learning, narrow the gap, understand, are we on the right track as far as what the customer is expecting. So that's one simple way, where we are leveraging AI to make that match. And that match consists of two stakeholders, right? One is the candidate, and to understand the candidate's expectations and marry or match that to the client's brand perception. So that is one simple way that I can explain. The other thing I want to add, Anupama, is, and I'm sure everybody would agree, it's of course a double-edged sword, right? It's a double-edged sword. On the other extreme, we've all seen movies from the 80s called the Terminator and all, which was science fiction. It's not fiction anymore, right? It's not fiction. I mean,
right.
when those movies were released in the 80s, a lot of people thought, wow, this is fantasy and all of that. But today you have robots, you have cyborgs. And now let me bring it back to this particular discussion. We've also had examples, and of course people can Google it, where some organizations, and these are large ones, had to scrap their AI tools, had to scrap their recruitment tools. For example, in one such case, the AI tool, for whatever reason, started discarding profiles wherever they found the word woman, women's university or something like that. And so look at the damage if it's not managed properly, if the rules are not fed properly. So they realized it, and quickly they started taking corrective action. So the point that I'm trying to make is, and I think Tanvi also mentioned it, it's about, I would say, tech and touch, right? It's a combination of both, if I have to keep it simple, right? So AI is of course technology, but what everybody else is talking about, it's about it's about the touch, right? How you're able to marry the two together. For us, it's very, very important because we're in the people business, which is very, very important for us. It's about transparency, fairness, because there are a lot of organizations that don't disclose what are the AI tools which are working in the background. So
Right.
it's very important, and we've seen this happen with our clients, and we advise them, please be very honest and advise and be upfront. So being using AI from a fairness point of view, but also being transparent and telling people what's happening on the background. So these are a few things, Anupama, which I think are very, very relevant.
Okay. And one thing I wanted to also ask in terms of like AI customer journeys, like I have a question for Mr. Johri. Like when deploying AI for dynamic customer journeys, how do you ensure that the human essence of the brand isn't lost in automation?
So I honestly avoid, I honestly
Yeah.
avoid including AI in a complete dynamic journey. What I prefer is personalization, which is very different from AI taking control totally over it. And the answer is simple that today, if I use AI, I am not sure of what the predictive modeling is going to give me an outcome. As other panel members have suggested, AI is mix of everything. But what I feel that AI is closer to a data scientist rather than a content or a brand strategist. What it can help me understand is the nature of my customers. It can help me fine tune that messages which has to go to customers. But do I want to push a dynamic content to that? That answer is no. Where it can help me reversely is I use Meta, and on Meta there is an option of testing, A/B testing, multiple A/B testing, and probably with a blue color background for a travel person who has recently clicked my website will respond to me at 8:32. Is most of this is a data decision. And if I show him the ad, then there'll be a blue ad, there'll be a red ad with a different creative and so on and so forth. So I will know which ad will person will get focused, and I will sell my stuff to them. There is a caveat also that when I do these kind of things, it is not just me who is learning. It is that AI
Right.
also who is learning, and which in turn will give data to the other stakeholders. And I am wondering this information when and how would it be commercialized, that I want to capture. It's a simple query. I want to capture XYZ's organization best time to send a message with a creative which best suits for them. It's a matter of time. Right, right.
Absolutely.
Like you do it for adverts now, right? So
Hmm.
it's bidding war which will start, and I see that in its infancy because we were trying to search, put some products on ChatGPT and so on and so forth, so that it recommends our product, and we could see that there are offshoots of it, and this will probably happen, and that's my take.
Great. We also have the editor-in-chief, Mr. Brish Pawar, and he has also joined, and we would like
Hi,
to welcome
Bridge.
him as well.
Hi,
Hi,
editor.
Brish.
Sorry.
Hey, Rich, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you guys? I hope you're enjoying the discussion.
Mr. Gupta was
Yeah,
missing you. He was
Absolutely.
asking about you.
yeah, I was missing you, Rich.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we meet again. We have the summit which is coming up in probably in November. So we'd love to
Sure,
have you there.
definitely.
Okay. No, please continue, Anupama.
You want to ask, Brish?
No, no, I'll tap in. I'll tap in. You go.
Oh, okay. Okay. Perfect. So yeah, we just heard from Mr. Johri. And another thing which I was wondering, like about AI insights, like I have a question for Ms. Ruchita. Like, has there been a time where AI insights contradicted brand intuition? Like, if so, how did you decide which direction to go?
So, I have been a core insights person all my career, and this dilemma of data versus the gut of the brand marketer, it has always been, a dilemma in everybody's mind, So even in Access Max Life, there have been times when data is throwing something, and as a brand marketer, you would want to try something else, and you go by your gut, and sometimes you succeed also. So, and the other example to give here is, the statistical models that we run, right? The outcome of all the statistical models are just a mathematical outcome, and similarly with the AI outcomes also, So everything is mathematical, everything is pattern based protocol, and it's a code behind everything. But ultimately, it is how you as a person, as an individual, look at the data. What is your gut at the end of the day, and when you take decisions, is what really matters. I'll give you an example. So we were doing a product testing, so there was a product that was to be launched, and we did a lot of AI based insights also, and we did some consumer customer testing also, and the data was completely showing that AI or the customer were not picking a product which was an FD based product in life insurance. Okay, so we were launching a product, and it's still there in the market, wherein we provide returns which is simulating the FD environment. So everything was against, but our brand and the product, people wanting to take a bet with this product, and there comes to it that product went well. It really did wonders. So somewhere there are conflicts, there are different opinions that you get from AI, and what people really think in the management, or the brand marketer or product people. That is where there has to be a balance that has to be maintained, that okay, if you still think that this will work, let's do a pilot. Then you see the pilot is successful, and then you go ahead and launch it at a mass scale. But yes, these kind of conflicts really come, and the way to go it is either you just go by your gut, or just try by doing some A/B testing or pilots, so as to see what the results are in the real market.
Yeah.
If I may add to what
Yeah.
Ruchita just mentioned rightly, I think this question that you asked, Anupama, can be answered very simply by understanding the stage of data maturity that is there, in India as well as globally, and how data has been built and maintained across organizations. And if you understand the history of it, it's basically that data was originally being stored and kept and analyzed for human consumption. It was not originally being sourced or used for machine consumption. And that's where I think what Ruchita mentions is quite relevant, that the data models could throw you a particular result. Like, for example, if you're trying to figure out the best channel to reach out to a particular user, if in the last 3 months you've only used one channel like WhatsApp, the data model will show you, WhatsApp is the best channel. So you have to understand the intricacies and the decisions being taken by a marketer. And not probably now, but few years from now, a lot of organizations are taking up data cleanup activities, improving their data quality, standardizing the data. When it reaches to a mature level, that's when I think we'll be able to rely more and more on the AI outputs, along with obviously not doing away with the human insight that comes along with it.
Yeah.
Interesting point. Um, I have something for you, Mr. Shetty. Traditionally, the role of the CMO, was not to report numbers in the revenue funnel, right? He used to look at his consumers in a more of a psychological way, right? But today, a CMO has to don multiple hats. He has to be the CTO, he has to be the CIO, he has to be the CBO as well, right? You as a CBO, is it going vice versa as well? While you are going and generating business, is your approach towards your customers changing, and specifically in relation to the topic that we have? Because right now data can, to a certain extent, analyze emotion. So is the new CBO the new marketer also?
Okay, interesting question, Biz. Thanks for that. So, I'll attempt to answer it in maybe one or two perspectives, and I'll also drag in the HR, the CHRO, not just the CMO, and I'll tell you why. If you look at an HR head earlier, right, a lot of it was recruitment, retention, employee engagement, comp and benefits. These were the four pillars, right?
Hmm.
Today, if you look at the situation, HR heads are involved in data analytics. The pillars are the same, but suddenly you have this angle of analytics for attrition analysis, for retention, for engagement, trends, all of that, exit interview analysis, all of that. So all of that is helping HR heads align with the business better, number one. Number two, now let me take it to the point that you were making, Bridge. If you look at from the CMO's perspective, it's not very different, right? So a lot of these, functions which were supporting the business are very, very much aligned to the business, and I would say are better positioned also to work hand in hand, and in some cases, in a lot of cases, even run the business, because now they're aligned with the, data trends. They are very clear with the numbers, the ROI, where earlier it was a lot of gray area. It was very difficult for people, but today AI has changed a lot of that. And the last part, right, to what you were saying, yes, clearly, I would say from a CBO's perspective, branding becomes very, very critical, especially the work that we do, because uh, you have to firstly create a EVP or a branding for yourself, for your candidates, and for your clients. So that is, part and parcel. But also, the marketing team works very closely with the business team in our case, whether it's creating analytics of talent in the market, presenting that, using that for our strategy, for our hiring strategy. So it is, definitely, I think that's a no-brainer. CMO has a seat at the table, CHROs have a seat at the table, and I think it's becoming a very good, I would say, consensus decision making, if I can use that word bridge. So it is consensus decision making. In a lot of cases, we do that ourselves. Whenever we have important decisions, we have finance, we have HR, we have marketing, and of course the business collectively being able to take the decision. So I don't know whether I've been able to sort of,
Absolutely. I think very interesting times we are living in when, all these heads are not anymore in silos, right? There was a time when the CMO would not go and meet CTO for a long time, but now they have to have a meeting almost every week, because there's a lot of data which is coming in. Then you have to understand that data and then you have to put it to use, both for marketing and both for developing the business. So I think it is, very interesting times that we are living in now. Yes, Anupama, you wanted to ask something for Ashish. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So in nowadays world, like LLMs can now generate localized messaging, right, across 120 plus languages, but tone often misfires. So how do you quality control the AI generated marketing content and diverse markets like India, Australia, and in the Middle East to ensure the consistency stays in tone and student reassurance? How do you go about that?
Uh, Anupama, we have our own brand tone, right? And we work very heavily on the UGC content, right? So just give you an example, we are working with a lot of students who are actually placed by IDP to different part of the world, right? We have a communities also who creates a content for us, and we create a lot of content because the business is like this only, right? The students who are already placed by IDP is actually spread out of worlds, and we get a lot of referrals through UGC content. Uh, what we have started doing, that we started using AI videos almost a 6 months back, right? And what we realized, that people are not able to connect with that AI videos what we have. So we have created one model who is actually IDP model, and she is talking about a lot of informative stuff on Instagram and Facebook. But what happened, that we are not able to utilize that model in a better format, like the way we use human, right? So in IDP, we have our own setup where people actually come in front of camera, do a lot of lives, Instagrams, and talk about what is happening across various countries or the industries. In terms of regional content, definitely we take help from AI in terms of translating one language to another. But what I feel, that still there is a lot of scope AI to evolve in terms of creating content in different language, because we really need a human intervention at every point in time when we create content from English to Tamil or Tamil to another language. So this is what I feel, that it really needs some more smart work in this field. Maybe in a 2-3 years down the line, it will this problem will be solved.
Ashish, there's something which is coming in called, emotional intelligence, wherein AI models are actually looking at facial expressions and then trying to, ascertain what sort of, what is that the customer needs. So you talked about how, the videos you are taking is actually analyzing. Can you shed some light on it? Can you give some insights as to what have you found, our current AI models, emotional intelligence models really be able to actually assess the customer emotion using facial expressions?
So for an example, if there is a model what we have created like Navi, right? Navi is a model who is actually IDP model who is talking about all the information what coming across the country. You know that what is this is at this point in time, a lot of happening around the world. Right? Donald Trump is coming with a lot of new things. There's a lot of changes in terms of immigration policy. So every day we create a content, right? What's happening actually when we are feeding this content to this model, and she's talking about something that, people are not able to connect it, because first they're not able to do eye to eye contact, Second, they don't feel like a human touch type of a thing, because people generally ask a lot of questions and they engage with the content what you created on Instagram, right? But this model cannot be, give that type of results what we are expecting from the humans. So this is how the problem is. But definitely, over a period of time, once we have the advanced model, we would be able to, create that type of videos also through AI.
Hmm.
Yeah, Mr. Shetty has to say something. He
Yeah,
is
please.
raising his
Yeah,
hand.
I
Yeah.
just wanted to add to
Yeah.
Bridges, sort of question to Ashish. So, it's a real life example. We were consulting a Japanese client, and I mean, this software may already be out there, but it was very interesting for me during this discussion. And he was looking to hire a country manager, and he was explaining the tool, and it was just amazing that it is designed in such a way that it checks the pupil dilation, it checks the your features, the smile, the extent of your smile, to see if it's a comedy scene, how funny are you really finding it, are you finding it a little funny, very funny? And we were just amazed, right? We were just
I'm finding it a little funny.
exactly. So it was, and he was like, we are trying to use all this information so that we are able to feed it back to the content service provider. And it was just, it just blew us out of our mind. Of course, we have to now hunt for such candidates who can manage a business like this, but that's a different story. But I think the way it is evolving is phenomenal. And I think just the last point I just want to add on that is, I think it's moved from being a static branding, where it's more dynamic, regular learning, and that's how the culture and the branding changes. Because earlier, you have a brand perception, okay, this is what it is for a lot of the companies, right? And it goes on for decades and decades. But I think those days are gone. So I would say the branding part is a continuous learning tool which will keep evolving based on the various information that it gets fed and what it absorbs from the environment. So I just wanted to add that.
I think before I
Absolutely,
come to
absolutely.
you, Ruchita, very interesting case in point which comes to my mind is the downfall of Jaguar, where they couldn't really access what their customers wanted. And from, a certain level of business that they were doing in Europe, there some figures I saw, only 27 cars were sold last month, which is, and this happened after their faux pas with that whole that new branding of that pink
No branding.
Jaguar which is coming in. I don't know where they got their data wrong. It's a company like Jaguar. Anyway, over to you, Ruchita. Yes,
Yeah,
please.
I was just building on the point that you have said that the facial expressions and how a system or a machine can read all of that. In fact, in market research, this is a neuro-based research which is like quite popular. Many companies offer these kind of neuro researches, and in fact, we have also tried one of them wherein you have a consumer sitting out there having participating in the market research, and you have him place a kind of a helmet kind of thing on his head, and once he's looking at the video, the ad or a static ad or any kind of stimulus, you are able to assess his, like you said, pupil dilation, his expressions, his smile. So that gets captured, and you are able to assess what parts of your creative it's creating is actually generating the stimulus in the minds of the consumer, and that those are your hot points, and that's what you really build in. If you're like cutting a 30-seconder ad to a 10-seconder, you build on those pointers and you put it in 10-seconder. So these are certain use cases which in a market research also we are building, wherein a system is helping you take these kind of decisions also.
Very
Quite
interesting.
interesting, so I thought I will share
Very.
that as well.
Hmm. Reminds me of another interesting question for Antriksh. Tata has been known as a legacy brand, right? Which would tap into the emotions of people for the longest of times, and people were just, attached to the brand. Could you give us some numbers? Where does Tata as a brand stand today? Is that emotional touch of the consumer still with Tata? Is it not? Where are them? Because now we can actually assess that emotional response using numbers. I mean, if you don't want to share, I'm okay
No,
with
I'll,
that.
I'll
But
I'll try to answer this as a consumer and rather than a employee of Tata, and I think that will answer your part. See, AI, what it can do is it can understand the behavior. It cannot understand the belief. A brand is based out of belief, right? when you talk about belief, it is built on legacy, it is built on trust, and needless to say, Tata has been building trust throughout. And I will not only comment on Tata for that, Indian banking as a brand, right? It has a name bank because you can trust upon it, and that has been always told to me 10 years, every bank I was part of. The brand is the reinforcement of your belief, and that has been tuned to us, which AI cannot produce. It can only tell ki in order to ascertain or increase a brand belief in a person, you will need to do this. I'll take example of Westside, which is my favorite brand. And earlier I used to get a
My wife's
simple,
too.
yeah.
Sorry, my
So
wife's favorite friends.
okay, so earlier I used to get a simple personalized mail from the website, which used to talk to about me that Antrich, these are the new launches. Now when I see I'm receiving a mail which is which looks at my browsing history and tells me exactly what I want to wear, because the temperature in Mumbai is 36 degrees centigrade, and that is how I am being persuaded to match a belief that this branch is matching my vibe, what I call it. So that is where AI comes into picture, and that is how you build a brand out of yourself. And you won't believe that 2 years before this, I never even considered WhatsApp as website as a brand. I never considered it, but now with those customized personalized message, I just love them. That's my take on it.
But then where do you draw that line? I mean, when you are going so much deep into that customer,
Hmm.
sometimes the customer doesn't want you that deep, right?
Correct.
And
Correct.
Tata. So I was just reading somewhere that Tata New, is touching about 200 million plus digital touch points, across its apps, across. And the data was so interesting, but now all that data is now coming to you. One, how are you managing that? I mean, becomes very complicated because to manage such amounts of data across platforms. Second, how do you ensure that there comes a time when the customer is not creeped out? Because sometimes I'm talking to my mother regarding something, and suddenly I see an Instagram ad about it. I am relieved, but at the same time, I'm creeped out, which means that the brand, yes, is emotionally tapping into me, but there has to be a certain limit.
Correct. So I remember a context. What happened was yesterday or day before yesterday, I was in my bedroom. I was talking to my wife, and I was about to sleep, and then my Alexa suddenly started laughing. It was way creepy. Nothing which I said could have awakened Alexa, but it was way creepy. We instantly plugged Alexa out. I sent a mail to Amazon. Amazon said it is due to a bug which is known, and they sent a fix over here to my device, and it got fixed. Uh, how do I manage this massive amount of data uh, for every organization, and I'll not just focus on Tata. The guardrails have to be very, very stringent. It is better not to reach customer at a wrong time, rather to reach him at a right time. Don't widen your net so much that you can't control it. Don't go to a base which you can't manage it. Put guardrails so strong. And at the initial of this conversation, I said, your campaigns, especially your perf campaign, when you started, you do a dipstick, you see where it is going, especially if it's a pure AI based campaign. And then you scale it up slowly and gradually to understand what kind of complaints you're getting. You, as Tanvi said, you need to marry your ORM into it so that you understand where the complaints are coming. And that is how you churn out the best result. As Ashish was saying, you need to put the regional language and content into it. So that is how you marry it out, and it's a complex process, man. It's not simple, but that is where the brand legacy comes, and how it is that you build a belief out of it for a customer.
Hmm. So we have a few audience questions coming in as well. Um, uh, this is Sneha Kulkarni, growth lead at Lumera Health Tech. Question is for Sanjay. Um, okay, so this is an umbrella question. How do you balance short-term AI wins like higher click-throughs with long-term brand equity impact? I think this won't go to Sanjay. This can go to someone else, but Sanjay, has Quess Corp started benchmarking AI-driven brand equity? If yes, what kind of KPIs or measurement frameworks are you experimenting with? Again, I would you be able to answer this?
Sure. So, I'll tell you some of the KPIs that we're measuring. So we're measuring, you know, we're measuring average attrition in organizations. We're measuring average time to hire. the time taken by the organizations, right? Literally very interesting, right? From the time they're made to wait for an interview, how much time does an average candidate wait? So these are all part of the candidate experiences which translates on the brand. So cycle time from step one to the next step. So through the entire life cycle, we obviously use our chatbots to get constant feedback from candidates at different stages before they join the company. Then for the next 3 months, 6 months, so we have these milestones. So these are various things that we do, which sort of we put into the mixture to give us a perspective on different organizations, which we then have discussions, and we take that feedback back and we give it to customers.
As CBO, you would obviously look at what investments are going into which silos inside the company as well, right? So, where do you benchmark AI right now? What sort of investments are you guys planning to pitch in? And and not just Quest, I think across the industry, what is the standard right now?
Yeah, so I will not go too much into the specific numbers and percentages, but what I can say clearly, and one simple way of measuring this is look at the demand for AI talent in India. Simple. Why is the demand increasing 60 to 70% from last year to this year? The reason that demand is increasing is because organizations are investing more into AI. Another interesting, one data point that I can share is 70% of the AI that companies are implementing within their functional teams are mostly in the human resource aspect, so which is related to talent acquisition and retention. So clearly, that tells you the amount of investment. Now, as far as Quest is concerned, absolutely essential for us because the scale. I mean, we have a couple of thousand clients. We have close to 600,000 contract staff. We impact almost 2 million lives on a daily basis by virtue of 4 to 5 dependents per employee that we put to work. So when you look at this entire scale, we use AI in our ATS, we use AI in our retention, we use AI to map talent across second tier, third tier rural areas. We've launched a global mobility business. So here, and I think Antriksh was talking about the cultural affinity. So here we bring the cultural aspect as well, because different countries have different rules. The Gulf region is different, the Eastern European region is different, APAC, specifically Japan, is very different. So so for us, like I mentioned earlier, it's no more a good to have, it's a business imperative. There is, in fact, there's a program and there's a project team that is specifically on AI and AI related. We're rehauling the entire system to be able to make it a more data driven decision making organization. Bridge.
I think we are living in some very interesting times. One thing which really stands out is that all of us are learning as well. Because every day you see something new which is coming into the market, which you have to get your hands into. I think we have reached the time for this discussion, but before we end, E4M launched martechai.com on 5th of June. In the first Martech Mixer, Mr. Gupta attended, at the Leela. And by the way, in just about 2 months, we have reached about 1.5 lakh views on the website, which tells us, the kind of craze that people have, the interest that people have in understanding and knowing what is happening in the world of AI and marketing technology. Um, we would love to. We have just launched our Martech and AI Awards. The website went live yesterday. So we would love to invite, all of you on the jury. We would love to also award some of you, and that is when we won't invite you on the jury. And we'd probably have the summit in November. So we would love to invite you as well to come and speak. I think it was a very engaging discussion. Uh, you know, in the end, what I can say is whether you're building prompts, pipelines, personas, I think one thing to remember is that algorithms may not feel, but the customers do. So, as Tata would have it, the customer is is where they would want to go. I think we hope this session sparked ideas, challenged assumptions, maybe even question your own AI playbook. Thank you once again,
Thank
Ashish,
you.
Anvi, Antriksh, Ruchita, Sanjay.
Thanks, Bridge.
All
Thank
of
you.
you joined us today. I think
Thanks to
till the
everyone.
end to this
Yeah.
conversation, we would have loved to, interact with you more. But
Yes.
by virtue of maybe more personalized interviews, we'll engage more with you guys. Thank you again. Thank you so much. Thank
Thanks,
Thank
Thank you
Luis.
you.
so
Thanks,
much.
Anubhav.
you.
Pleasure.
Bye.
Thank you for your time, everyone. Thank you. Have a good day.